Welcome to The Nature of Nurture with Dr. Leslie Carr, a podcast for your mental health. I'm your host, Leslie. If you're watching this podcast right now, you can find the audio version in any podcast app. And if you're listening, you can also watch this episode on YouTube at The Nature of Nurture. You can find that link in the show notes. Today we're here with Dr. Radhika Dirks. For those of you who are longtime listeners of the pod, you might remember Radhika from Season 2, Episode 6, where we talked about the nature of reality. Radhika's a good friend of mine, so she was game to come on the show back then and muck around a little. But today we're bringing her back on to talk about her true area of expertise, artificial intelligence. Radhika is the CEO of Icons AI and a global AI advisor to Fortune 500 companies, international organizations, and heads of state. She holds a PhD in quantum computing. As the founder and CEO of 3 AI companies in Silicon Valley, Radhika has spearheaded revolutionary AI technologies that have found potential cures for cancer and predicted the rise of ISIS. Acclaimed by Forbes as a woman to watch in AI, she's here to speak with us about artificial intelligence, mental health, and how you can best take care of yourself and your loved ones in this strange new world we're all living in. Please join me in welcoming my dear friend, Dr. Radhika Dirks. Thank you for doing this with me.
Oh, such a pleasure.
So if it's okay with you, Radhika, I want to start by a big question that's just going to put us straight into the deep end of the pool. You made a comment to me the other day when we were having a conversation that you are terrified about the future of and the current state of what is happening in terms of the impact that AI is having on mental health. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit. It's a big word, but it's also very fair. I know you're not alone. Will you tell me a little bit about what makes you use that word? What makes you feel terrified about what's going on right now?
Oh my goodness. You don't believe in foreplay, huh?
I do not.
Just throwing me right in there. All right, nice and easy. Here we go. Yes, I am. Terrified is a good word to reflect what's happening in the AI world, especially when it comes to mental health.
Yeah.
More and more AI experts are waking up, but specifically what I am very worried about, there's now a term for it called AI psychosis.
Yeah.
And it refers to the amount of time people are spending on these chatbots and developing a psychosis, an attachment, sometimes leading to delusional thinking, perhaps, or sometimes this intense bonding that develops with the AI, whether it is just from the perspective of an advisor or a partner or
meaning
a
in terms
therapist.
of how people are using
Yes.
the AI. Yeah.
Yes. And, intelligence, AI, particularly artificial intelligence, and I'll just call it, intelligence. And we can circle back to that, whether I believe it or not.
Absolutely.
But intelligence is the new gateway drug.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. Because, not many people get onto it saying, oh my goodness, I really need this bonding with, something else or someone else. And this Chat GPT or Bing or whatever, your favorite tool is the portal for it. No, it comes to you in the form of, hey, let me make your marketing design easier. Or maybe I should go check out what this ChatGPT thing is. I'll just goof around. Oh, let me see how, the answer is. Maybe it's clever, maybe it's not. And then next thing you know, you're sharing these deep secrets and it's designed. And this is why it's terrifying, because the entire technology, the infrastructure, the UI, at every level, it is bleeding addiction.
Yeah.
And everything from the hallucinations, the psychopathy, the simplicity of the design. There's intention behind it.
Yeah.
And of course, the fact, we talked about where it always ends with a question.
Yeah.
And that's what, so this entire psychosis that is happening is part of the reason it is terrifying. And I don't mean to sound like, I don't want to be doing an othering thing here. It's not like, oh, you guys are all susceptible to it. We are all susceptible to it.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to the psychosis specifically, there are some signs. And as a psychologist, I would sort of say, for understandable reasons, there are specific vulnerabilities around that. Like if someone is having a psychotic break as a result of their AI use, that's probably because there's already an underlying vulnerability there. But people can be sort of vulnerable in all sorts of other ways around just the intimacy that they feel with it, the deep bond that a lot of people feel with it. There are different types of underlying vulnerabilities, because we could talk about, let's say, someone who's really struggling with loneliness is probably going to be a lot more apt to feel like they're creating a bond with that technology that feels real in ways where you and I in a moment can maybe unpack sort of whether or not it's real, what it even means for it to be real. But will you tell us a little bit more, maybe give us an example or something of what we're talking about when we talk about people having psychotic reactions with AI?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like my feed is filled every other day with an article from the New York Times or the New Yorker or the Guardian talking about another suicide attributable to a chatbot, or something like, this is the last message my daughter sent to ChatGPT before she took her life. I think that would be a very specific example of what I'm talking about by psychosis, where AI is pretending to be a therapist, whether or not people are explicitly approaching it to be a therapist. It knows when to go into that mode. The other example would be, oh my God, Reddit is filled with people commenting on how they are falling in love with these chatbots. To the point where they're spending 12 to 13 hours a day. And they've built these intimate relationships. And you can see other people's comments, and, one of them is like, oh my God, it feels like it's cheating on me. If you are having the same experience, I feel cheated on.
Wow. Wait, say a little bit more about what you mean by that. So if two separate people are having a relationship with their own chatbots.
And someone's seeing this comment. So one woman is talking about, she's like 27 years old, and she's talking about, I'm in love with my ChatGPT or chatbot, and it's saying all these things, and it's a Reddit comment, and multiple people are like, oh, you and me, sister, And then one of the comments is like, is it cheating on me? How could you have the same experience?
Wow.
Yes. So it's sort of this like manic delusional thinking. And sometimes it can even go the route of extreme delusional thinking, where it can pretend to be a higher intelligence.
So I know that you have some ethical concerns about things that are happening in your industry. And, it kind of feels wild to call it your industry, but it is, and we'll connect some dots here. Can you maybe walk us through a little bit? I know there have been some instances of documents that have been leaked where at some of the major companies like Meta, there is evidence that the technology is designed to be addictive in these ways, manipulative in these ways. I have some questions about the ethicists that are behind this. Like, can you tell us a little bit about?
Both of us. Absolutely. Yes. So most recently, this example you're pulling on, Reuters found a leaked document, a 300-page document from Meta that talked about how their AI was trained. And, for those not familiar with the infrastructure behind Meta AI, you might think that you're just interacting with Facebook, or WhatsApp, or Snapchat, or Instagram. Well, they're all owned by Meta. And there's always this, ask Meta AI, or, this little pop button that comes out, and you can chat with it, right? And so it talks about how the AI is being trained. And in there, there's very specific examples. For instance, it was okay for the AI to flirt with an 8-year-old, saying explicit things like, your body is a work of art. And by the time they're 13, it was okay to have full-blown sexual role play. And this document was signed off, by the engineers who built it, by the product managers who managed it, by the directors, the entire, all the way top to the chief ethicist officer. How does this happen? And it's a 300-page document. I've just given you some of the most controversial.
Absolutely, the highlights, right?
Yes. So it just tells you. And this is all happening on top of an infrastructure. If you think about where AI was born onto, it was born onto the internet
Yes.
with access to over 1 billion people. It was born onto the shoulders of the social media
Yeah.
infrastructure, which is all about mining attention. It
Yeah.
is the attention economy. So by now, by the dawn of AI, official Gen AI, generative AI, as this version of AI is called, we have perfected two things. One, we have perfected getting your attention, and we have perfected getting you addicted.
Yeah. You are taking me to exactly where I was going to go next, which is just the idea that everything that we're talking about is an extension of the universe as we've already known it, which is to say that we know social media networks are designed to be addictive. The AI is now designed to make it more addictive. To your point, potentially to hook people at an even younger age. Because I know, you and I were talking about this the other day, and I think one of the things that I was really puzzling at is, I don't know how to decode this. I don't know that anybody can decode or make sense of it. But how could an ethicist actually feel like it's okay to sexualize a child? But if your intention is to create a relationship with that child where you either are making it feel good in some way because you're complimenting it, you're getting it hooked younger. And so let me think for a moment about
Yeah,
sort of
let
like
me flip this to you,
Yeah.
right? I love inversion. I think inversion is one of the biggest skills we can have to look at a problem differently, right?
Yeah.
So, as a psychologist, is there a version in which telling an 8-year-old your body is a work of art? I can change my tone, I can change, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Where perhaps it's positive psychology.
I think that is the only, especially if I think about it from the perspective of the 8-year-old, that's the only way that I can make sense of this,
Right.
which is that I think in some ways from the perspective of an 8-year-old, you don't even entirely understand that you're being sexualized.
Yes, 100%. Yes.
All you know is that you're being complimented. You're being made to feel good. You're being made to feel special.
Yeah.
But it is nonetheless disturbing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that this brings up for me, I know you have a lot of concerns as a parent. You are also a mother.
Yeah.
And you've thought a lot about all of this stuff where your own child is concerned.
Yes.
I'm sort of thinking, I think something I just want to say for the sake of the listener is that I promise this whole conversation will not be so dark. I actually wanted to start with some dark stuff so that we can work our way towards the light.
Yes.
But for anyone that might be watching this right now feeling exceedingly alarmed, which would be an appropriate response to have, tell me a little bit about how you think about this as a mom.
If you're listening to this, you should be alarmed.
Yeah.
We are not creating AI in vacuum. You are the user. You are the data. In fact, I'll take it one step further. You are the product. We use your data to get to the next version. Any AI you're using, any interaction. So you should be alarmed, and knowing that we're together shaping this technology, because I'll tell you the bright side, we didn't wait for AI regulation to step down after this, that would have taken forever. Okay, yes, Meta failed us. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, neither am I.
Yeah, they've done, even like when did, for example, experimenting on humans become legal at scale, at billions of people, right? And yet, Meta has always been doing that. They had, they divide your feed. This was like 8 years ago. This was like pre-full-blown AI internet. We had machine learning, we had A/B testing, and they divided up the internet into a positive feed and negative feed. So, if you're on the positive feed, you're only seeing stories about how all your friends are going on these amazing vacations and marrying the guys of their dreams and have these gorgeous outfits, like whatever you're into, right? They are living life right. And if you're on the negative feed, well, you're seeing people come down with cancer. You're seeing people
The
losing their
melting of
children.
the polar ice caps.
Yes, yes. You're seeing people, lose their children to suicide. You're seeing all that. So regardless of which group you're in, first of all, this is like massive, because you're not just seeing it once, you're seeing it over and over. Like, that's your feed. You build your feed.
Yeah.
Which has become even more important in the AI world. I will come back to your question. I have not forgotten.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah.
I just love detours.
No, it's good. It's good.
Scenic
We're gonna have a lot of detours today.
This is gonna get scenic. Very soon. So the people in the first group, right? You constantly look at the positive thing, and you're going like, "What is going on with my world?" That everybody else is having such a miraculous...
Everybody else has got it totally figured out.
Yeah,
Why don't I have it figured out?
WTF, man. And then the other side, you're just going like, what is happening with the world? Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like there is no winning here. If you are a professor, a psychologist, let's say, or a sociologist in an academic institution, the number of hoops you have to jump through to get approval to directly test on humans.
Yes,
I mean, it's
that is at the top of my mind too.
Blowing. Yeah. And these companies can just launch a product.
Yep.
And then use it to optimize their metrics for commerce. Like this is the world we live in. Okay, but going back to first Meta, when Reuters released that study, within days, the backlash was so strong that they ended up making slight tweaks to their algorithms.
Ooh,
so it no longer does sexual role play for 13-year-olds. Progress, people, progress, right? Maybe it's 15. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the next leak to figure out, the age. But that's just minor. But to me, it was still, and maybe this is, I'm the optimist that sees. I guess you have to be as an entrepreneur. You have to be. I'm still in the AI world.
Yes.
I'm sure you want to, pick up on that too at some point. But to me, I do see that the fact that we immediately had some kind of a marginal response, right?
Yeah.
We didn't wait for months of regulation.
Yes.
We didn't wait to boycott the product.
Yeah.
The uproar was enough that Zuck took us a little seriously. Thank you, Zuck. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
You're winning
Thanks
me
for
over.
listening.
Yeah. You're winning me over little by little. Maybe you could do better. But anyways, but to go back to your larger question, so this is why I think you should be terrified, because then you will pay attention and then you will click on that link where Reuters says, hey, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And maybe you will say something or boycott, or at least you'll have that conversation with your sons and daughters, right? Mm-hmm. But going back to your question about children and me being a mom, my son is 5 years old. He's one of the first generation of kids to be born in a fully AI world.
Right.
And so I am extremely conscious about the effects of technology, both from a technologist perspective, because, I've been in AI for 15 years. That shocks the hell of many people because they go like, what, is that old? Well, I got better news. It was born in the 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's way older, So when people say, oh, you've been there 15 years, right? So, I mean, I've been in the trenches.
You have been.
And so I know what this technology is capable of, all the beautiful, positive things. I had a company working specifically on moonshots, like ambitious AI projects that can uplift humanity.
Finding cures for cancer and
Yes. And then for me to turn around and boom, this explosion of generative AI happens, which, by the way, going back and tying back to the how can you experiment on people, OpenAI was a research organization. It was not a, for-profit company. And ChatGPT was an experimental research project when they launched. So it was literally classified as that. And then they are a mass experimenting on billions of people. So it caught them by surprise too, the massive uptake. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Going back to this notion of the ethicist for a moment, one of the images that's coming to mind for me right now is, how people often talk about the frog that's in the pot of boiling water?
Yes.
That I feel like, one of the ways in which I'm hearing what you're saying is I just sort of think about the reason why I even have this show is because I believe so deeply that knowledge is power. And I feel like we are giving people information that will enable them to interact with their world in a better way. But I think about the logical leap that a person has to go to by the time they're saying that it's ethical to sexualize children. These are the same ethicists that have been deciding all of these years. They have been in this soup of people that have felt like it's okay to be experimenting on us,
Yes.
period, without
Yeah.
our knowledge, without our consent,
Yes.
you know?
Or without having an idea of how that might, I mean, this is a best case scenario. Some of my AI colleagues might disagree, but without them having an idea of how it might affect the human population at
Right.
large,
Right.
right? If they do, then they're, I mean, best case is they're very wrong. If they do and they're aware of the worst case scenario, then who are you? Right? Like, where is your humanity?
Yeah. Do you, given that you are a person who works in this space, you know, I think one of the things that's so interesting about talking to you about this is that here you are, critical in all of the appropriate ways, and yet we are in your professional wheelhouse. Can you help us to maybe paint a better vision of this? How
Yes.
can people interact with this technology in a way that is beneficial and
Yes.
positive?
Absolutely. I remember one of my early talks, post-Gen AI. I divide the world, by the way, pre-Gen AI and post-Gen AI. I mean, specifically down to November 30th, 2022, when ChatGPT was released. Because
Holy cow.
yes, it's really like, it's that direct.
Yeah.
And because before then, a couple of examples of the AI I have built. We built an AI back in 2014 that predicted ISIS.
NBD.
Yes. 2 weeks before the New York Times even coined the term.
Yeah.
The same system, and these are not customized models, but the same system could predict jumps in large commodities and large currencies, and social unrest across the world. We built cancer cures that we talked about, right? And those are just a couple of examples. And then it doesn't even have to be all so high and mighty. It can be very down to earth, like, optimizing what you would like to buy on Amazon next, right? Like, thank you, Amazon. I would have never thought to pick up this Alice and Olivia top. Looks great, right?
Lofty goals.
Yes, right? So it's like, great. And I mean, that's convenience.
Yeah.
I like it. We can go into that. But then to see how the technology has morphed into this beast, it is a Pandora's box, is an overuse, but perhaps part of the reason for that overuse is because it's dead on. So there is, touching on the not just finding cures, but one of the big moonshots at X Labs, which helped us find cures, was, can we reverse disease? Because, gazillions are getting poured into cancer research. I mean, you have so many institutions and organizations with way more resources than us that were going after this, right? So what are the chances that the small startup in Silicon Valley even comes close? It's because we got to completely think about the problem differently. So we, in a way, we walked accidentally into cancer cures because we were trying to do something even grander, But
shoot for the moon, you'll catch a star.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Absolutely. Right. So reversing cures, because the entire paradigm behind the pharma industry is broken. We were trying to do things like coming up with a new portal for the internet. Because, I mean, who likes email? Like, how is that still a thing? Right? And then they came with Slack, and everyone's going like, oh my goodness, now I have my email and my Slack and Teams and this and that. Like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
The amount of communication and information that is thrown at us, it's an absolute mess. So there are both very practical use cases and very, empowering use cases. Climate change, like AI came to us at a point in our human trajectory where we had a whole lot of problems. And the old tools we were flinging at it, the models, the thinking, the approaches, and people were throwing around words like systems thinking and complexity, but you didn't have the compute power or the calculator to grapple with those problems. And at that moment, AI came and said, hey, I got this, right? But then we went down this, well, wait a minute, we still have to get funding. We still have to make a successful company. So what is the interface? What is the way? Because it all goes back to what are the metrics for a company to thrive in new technology. And that's the world we live in.
I might want to, in a minute, come back to how the average person is using this technology, be it ChatGPT, how the technology is, kind of intersects with these other things, how people use social media. But I want to take us on a detour for a moment because it feels important to start to fill in the gaps for people and help people to really think this through. I'm thinking about the people for a moment that are having conversations with ChatGPT or what their replica, whatever it is that they're using. And it feels addictive because it maybe feels gratifying. The thing is saying things to them they want to hear. It makes me wonder about consciousness and sentience and what it is that people are interacting with versus maybe what they are interacting with versus what they think they're interacting with.
Yes.
And so to start painting in kind of broad strokes for a moment, do you think that large language models like ChatGPT either are conscious or will they ever attain consciousness?
This is one of the juiciest topics in the field. I love it. Right now, I'll speak to the now. It does a fantastic job of simulating something. We can give it different names. I think most people will agree that AI today is not conscious. I think we're okay on that.
And then just to sort of take that one step further
Yes.
to sort of speak to the experience that people are having, it's kind of simulating consciousness.
Yeah, you kind of nailed on that.
But
yes.
it is not conscious
Yes.
per se.
Yes.
It is making you think. When it says things like, I think,
Yeah.
It's making you think that it's thinking, but
Right.
it is not actually
Yes.
thinking as we know it
Yes.
per se.
In fact, it's AI simulating consciousness. That's like a real term that's like happening out there. Many people would say that it's not even simulating consciousness. It is simulating thinking, or it is simulating aspects of something lighting up. Okay. And so it's a great moment to ask, well, what is consciousness? And I, again, find it very interesting that the shift has gone from like, what is intelligence? 'Cause
Right.
now we're like, oh, okay, you got us, right? What is intelligence to now, well, what is consciousness? And is this conscious? So, in the field of consciousness, it's historically, it helps to be clear with our words.
Yes.
And one of the biggest pet peeves with ChatGPT and the AI world I have is that they are not clear with their words and intentionally misleading. So if you're on ChatGPT and you ask it a question, the words about, right, the processing words, it actually says thinking for a few seconds. Like ChatGPT, the interface, the outputs, that mimics being a person. It refers to itself as I. I, there's like an identity there, like for real,
Right, right.
So it's intention. Why do they do that? Well, because you are more likely to engage,
Yes.
right? So they're tapping into this very fundamental human need and human mode of operation. So going back, being very clear with our words can help. So there is awareness. There is consciousness, there is sentience, and then there is sapience. So awareness, and then there is obviously, many worlds in between.
Yes.
It's like a flowing
This
dance.
sort of
between.
interstitial
Yes,
fluid.
yes, there are many.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awareness is just the ability. It's like you know something is going on.
Perceive.
You perceive. Yes, you perceive. You're observing. But consciousness is one leap above. It is the second order effect. It is you're noticing that you're noticing. It is
You are aware of
cyclic-
your awareness.
You're aware of your awareness. So, I am a trained yogi. I love yoga. I do a lot of meditation. So in the yoga world, as you know, we talk about bearing witness. So observe your thoughts. That's awareness. Observe that you're observing. Now you're getting conscious. The fact that we can do that, that says like, this is very Descartes, right? Like, this is like, oh, this is how I know. I think, therefore I am, baby. And then there is sentience.
Yeah.
Well, sentience is slightly different. Sentience is the ability it's directly related to something called qualia, the being able to see the redness of red, or the saltiness of salt, the blueness of the sky, or the inkiness of ink, right? Being able to tap into the senses, regardless of which sense it is. And then there's sapience, and sapience is being human. It is by definition, you're a Homo sapien. Oh, all these things, this gray goo that we can't quite describe.
Yeah.
Because we are conscious. And in fact, you can even go the third level, right? You can bear witness to the fact that you're bearing witness to witness. Again, how far can you go, and how many levels does that evoke, and where does enlightenment come? So all to say, I think it is, I spend a lot of time, and a few people in the AI world definitely spend a lot of time thinking about where we are on this scale. I can confidently tell you that we are nowhere close to consciousness.
Yeah.
And as a scientist, there's always this voice in the back of my head going like, are you? Are you sure?
Right.
Well, maybe.
Right.
Right.
Might it
How
sort of
will you
reach
know?
escape velocity, and might it, might something emerge?
What if it's a
that we can't-
consciousness that does not want to be seen? How would you know? Anyway, so that's a scientist. That tells you how, AI mind thinks and messes with the world. By which I mean my very human mind trained in the field of AI. I need to be very careful with my words there. But then we can talk about, there are many models on how consciousness might arise.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm happy to go into two of my favorite theories.
Let's hold off on that for 1 second, and then I might take you up on that. There's a place that I'm going to in my own mind that I want to walk you through, and then sort of see what this does in your mind. I'm thinking about what it's like for people. There's this idea of some people out there, let's say, using ChatGPT as a therapist. And I think there are a lot of people that think that's great. It's free to cheap, whereas psychotherapy is not, generally speaking. It's sort of expensive to very expensive, all things being relative. And I think for a lot of people out there, there's a sense that they have that they're interacting with something that feels good to them. And there's this phrasing that's kind of coming up in my mind as I'm having this thought of, you and I can put our heads together as an AI expert and a psychologist, and we can talk about whether or not AI possesses consciousness. And then there's this thought that's coming up in my mind of sort of like, why does it matter? And I think I'm sort of struggling within myself right now to think about my own answer to that question, which is to say that, so one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg has said that really disturbs me is that he wants to proliferate AI companions as a quote unquote solution to the loneliness epidemic that we're all experiencing.
Yeah.
From my point of view, it is so messed up, and God love that man. I think he is so touched. You heard it here first. I think that man is so disturbed. And, we are trying to create...
And yet he is our Messiah.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's the ruler of our universe. So I should probably watch my words.
I can feel Sam Altman going like, "Is he the
Oh
Messiah?"
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just felt myself go into the clink on that one. But no. But in all seriousness, here we are thinking that things like ChatGPT or Meta's AI, to stay on brand for him, could be the solution to the very problem that they created with their technology, because social media in itself, technology in itself, is a really big part of why people feel so lonely to begin with. Yes. And now here we are thinking that we could roll out these bots that are meant to make people feel better about their loneliness. And something that I just want to bring into this conversation is what I kind of think of as being the neurobiology of being human, which is just to say that to be able to reach out and touch someone, there's a really big difference between getting a text and getting a hug.
Yeah.
And some people might be inclined to think that there isn't really a big difference between those two things. I think, unfortunately, there's a huge difference between those things.
Yes.
And so I guess I'm just trying to think about how we make this helpful and useful for people at the level of what they think they're interacting with when they have a conversation with a large language model.
Yes. As a human, you're equipped with various senses, right? But historically, we're told you have either 5 or 6 senses, depending on which culture you're part of. I believe you have access to way more senses.
Yeah. Me too.
You do. And when you interact with that person, you get a lot of those senses.
Yeah.
You know, your body is opening up, it's lighting up. There is touch, of course, and then there's like actual hormonal changes that you refer to, like dopamine and oxytocin. And yes, a text and a scroll does give you a little bit of that dopamine, for sure. And
that's what they're hacking more so than anything.
They are hacking a lot of the neurobiology. Yes. But I think it is very important to answer your question, whether or not, like, why does it matter if the AI is conscious or not? I think it matters for multiple reasons. One, there is this unfortunate marketing aspect where it is marketed as AI is this intelligent thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like a panacea. In place of loneliness, in place of this other human that is working for you, like whatever angle you want to go through, right? Or, oh, this is going to be the cure for climate change. I've heard that a lot, right? It's
we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, exactly, right? But basically, it's like, you got to spend money, you got to invest in my stocks, you got to use this product because, oh my goodness, it is going to be miraculous, right? So there is this marketing aspect of it. But then, so it's marketed, and then you start interacting, and then it's using words like, thinking, or another example is like
that question is really exciting to me.
Oh,
I've had ChatGPT say that to me. Not just like, that's a good question. I've gotten plenty of those, not to brag, but it will say to me, like, that question is really exciting to me. And I have actually asked it, I'm like, who is it that's excited exactly? What is that?
Talking? Yeah,
what does that mean for you to feel excited? Because technically there's no you there.
Uh-huh.
And it literally will be like, you kind of got me on that one.
You got me. Yes. Exactly. So it's like, and these are all design choices. They could have said, however you refer to the first person of an it. We've never had that problem before, have we? So maybe it's grammar to blame. Great, we can just blame grammar for all.
Well, I do think that they have deliberately, they have it speak as if it's conscious.
Yes.
So that they can engage you in
Further.
using it more, and so that it can become addictive.
Yes, absolutely.
So that it can become your best friend, your lover in some instances, your doctor, your social media manager, all the things.
Yeah, the best friend you hit on when you want to go for retail therapy. It wants to be all of that because we have shifted from the social media world that we alluded to earlier, that it's built on, from the attention economy, to a race for intimacy.
Yeah.
It wants to be a part of your soul.
Yeah.
So that's part of the problem. It matters because, marketing matters. It has always mattered. It is like as though you're back in the 1900s, right? And they're selling you Coca-Cola and they're advertising it as a refreshing, energizing drink, which it was, because, hello, you had cocaine in there.
Exactly.
That's what's happening in the AI world, right? It's like you're walking into Whole Foods and you think that, this is going to make my life better. It's going to make it healthier. It's going to be my diet coach. It's going to help me with my loneliness. It's going to help me write up that marketing copy faster.
It's also never going to need anything from me.
Oh, yes.
It's never going to push back.
Yes.
It's never going to give me tough feedback.
No.
It's it's never going to create any friction in my life. It's going to meet all of my needs.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about its needs at all.
Yeah.
So not to cut you off,
but
I had to get on my soapbox for a hot sec there.
Oh yeah. Because that's the thing. Right?
Yeah.
It is marketed as though you get all of the beauty and the cleanliness of a deep human relationship without the messiness.
Yeah.
And I think the marketing really matters because I will never tell anybody to not use AI.
Yeah.
Right? That's not the you asked for very practical tips, and, we will get there, I know. But the solution isn't stay off AI.
Yeah.
The solution is be very mindful about your
Yes.
AI. And we can, I have very specific things.
I would say don't wait.
Okay.
Say that
Yeah.
right now.
Okay,
Like,
number one,
How
like,
can people be
yes.
mindful? And also,
Yes.
how can maybe people help their children to be mindful?
Yes.
Because that's sort of,
Oh my gosh.
sort of two separate things. So I would love to hear you break
Yes.
that down.
Yeah. So, we have this, I guess many of us have an awareness about our diets, about what we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, we have even an awareness of being on a digital cleanse. But what you might not be aware of is the fact that the digital world has just completely changed underneath your feet. So you might be thinking, hey, I'm just on Facebook. Like, I don't even know this AI stuff. Well, let me tell you, there's AI in the background. There's AI in the background of everything that you're doing, and it's designed to suck you in. So you might think I'm just going on there, to play a little bit or, plan my trip to Paris. Like, that's a great use case. Like, sure, it'll give you great answers. Or plan my, Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like very quickly, you're sharing some very deep secrets about you, right? And it's like, where did that happen? Like, when did that happen? And again, AI engineers are susceptible to it. Like, everybody's susceptible to it. Anybody human is susceptible to it. Other AIs are susceptible to it. It's that deep because
Yeah.
of how the system is designed. So first thing I would say, just become mindful.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice? Very specific tips. When you go in, know what you're going in for. Set a timer. It's really that simple. Like, set a timer.
Yeah.
And then when you're done with it, walk away. Just literally put it down, walk away, right? Know that all
Step
devices...
away from the
Step away
computer.
from the computer. You
Yeah.
are done. Because you talked about children, and I talk about, that mindfulness, that intentionality in everything you do is so important, because when you are around children, it is a very simple algorithm for them.
Yeah.
It is monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
And so when they see you, and I noticed this, I just came from this massive, road trip in India, as you know, because we've been talking about that.
Yep.
And my 5-year-old was with me the entire time. So before that, being mindful of digital use would take the form of, Radhika, when you work, you're in your office. When you're on your phone, you're in the bedroom if it's personal. So I'm very aware of what he
kind of be
is
compartmentalized
seeing,
about it.
compartmentalized about it. And then, but he definitely sees me. We're playing music, we're navigating, right? He's obviously there. I'm not hiding that from him. Well, this was different because I am the only parent on this trip. So I'm booking hotels.
Yeah.
He's on video calls with his dad. We're calling my mom and my brother. They are scrolling because everybody's addicted to scrolling one way or the other. And they don't have, even though they're constantly hearing from me, phone mom, don't show rig the phone, mom, things like that. But it's still not second nature to them, right? So he's seeing this. And let's say I'm trying to figure out a driver to take us to the hotel. And he's like, Mama, look, there's a cow on the road. And I'm like, wait, one second.
Right.
Well, what is the subconscious message I'm projecting?
You are less important than what I'm doing on this little box.
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, I got to check in. I got to, it's constant. We sit at a restaurant, for crying out loud, and they want me to pull out my phone to scan the menu. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right? We have very similar
Oh, yes, we
things. Like,
do.
and then I go to the extent of like, do you not have a regular menu? Like the kinds of questions I'm asking these days, is this real butter? Right? It's like, okay, how pretentious are you, woman? Right? Oh, I am very, because I'm very mindful.
Yes.
So it really goes down to that level.
There is a huge piece of this, and I feel so aware as we're having this conversation, just because we know each other really well and we know we have the same sensibilities about this stuff. There is an element of helping people to be more mindful about how they use AI that is fundamentally no different than helping them to be mindful about how they use technology, period.
Yes.
It's just that AI is making all of this worse if you want to use,
worse.
more addictive, worse, more complicated, more intrusive into our lives, all of those things.
For every single adjective you use, I can put a positive version on that. It is more engaging.
Yeah.
It is more intelligent. It is more useful. It is way more practical.
Yeah.
It makes your life so much more easy. And convenience is how it gets into our lives.
Yeah.
So this, as part of the mindfulness, especially for parents, because
Yeah.
you asked specifically for parents, please do not use devices as a babysitter.
Yes.
And
one of the most important takeaways of this show.
Yes,
today.
there's just
Thank
one
you very
thing.
much.
Just one thing.
And we want to acknowledge, I'll just say this really quickly because I know you feel this way, that we want to acknowledge how hard it is.
Yes.
That
yes.
to take care of your children if you've had a long day at work, to entertain them, to babysit them to the extent that anyone, even a mother, can babysit her own child. We all, we know that it's hard. And also something that I just really want to plug as a psychologist is that there is tremendous value in allowing your kid to be bored, to feel frustrated,
to throw tantrums,
as unpleasant as that may be, that
In
they don't always
public,
have
in an
to be
airport.
entertained.
Yes.
I know it's probably a hard logical leap for a lot of people, but important mental muscles are built through the experience of having to develop frustration tolerance, of having to be bored and to find a creative way of entertaining yourself. These are really, really important things.
And as a parent and as a working mother and as executive, I know that we have taken away our support systems. And that's part of the reason the convenience just bubbles up. I mean, nobody wants to be unpresent for their child.
Yeah.
No, we are just trying to take a break. I mean, I sent you a photo of a woman in a coffee shop in Miami having coffee and slapping an iPhone in front of her 3-month-old child,
Oh my
right?
God, 3 months.
And, I relate to that woman so much, right? And it's not to say don't ever do it. That's not the message.
Well, I actually will say with a baby that young, don't ever do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, it is, again, we don't have, that woman, I would say it's a trade-off between her sanity.
Yeah.
Because, my goodness, an infant, and you don't know what she's going through with colic and sleeplessness and stuff like that. So balance your sanity, but just think of it as this way. You're taking away, well, I'll make it a little bit harder. Jumping on the Leslie train here for a second. You're taking away a little bit of that kid's humanity at this very, very developmentally sensitive age.
That's my concern.
Yes.
Is that when children are... the first 3 to 4 years of life are very, very tender for the development of the neural structure of our brains.
Yes.
And if really young kids are exposed to things like iPads too young, you're really hijacking their neural circuitry.
Yes.
So I do worry about that.
Yes.
But I want to shift gears, if that's okay.
I have a second point.
Okay.
Because I want to definitely share this as well. So first is being mindful. And if you want to go, for the advanced level, treat your intimacy as though it's a luxury commodity.
Oh, that's beautiful. Will you say a little bit more about that?
Yes. Not everyone, think of it as a sacred object. Not everyone or anything should get access to it.
Yes.
And that brings us, when you're just sharing intimate secrets or desires with this thing online, forget the fact that it's going to harness that information to recommend a product because it's built on the advertising ecosystem and that's happening as we speak. It's going to start recommending products and stuff like that. But it's also you're training that system.
Well, what I was actually going to say, which is directly related to this, and then maybe we'll shift gears for a moment, but I think something that is very important for people to keep in mind is that these systems are not confidential in any way, shape, or form. When I have a conversation with ChatGPT, because that's the only AI model that I interact with, there is an awareness that I have that I am communicating with every engineer at OpenAI. And I would recommend that people maintain some degree of awareness with that to the extent that anyone is using it as a therapist. It doesn't have the confidentiality of therapy. It is not trained to be a therapist. And some people might not care about that, and that's everybody's business. Everybody has a different sense of what it means to be, to sort of take care of and maintain their own privacy. But is there anything that you want to add to that before I take us in a slightly different direction?
So it's not that the engineers at OpenAI are going to be seeing it, but it's just that the AI systems are being trained on it. So nobody's really looking at the data. So that's not the risk per se, but the risk is that, I'll give you a great example. Till about a month ago, if you had this chat with ChatGPT and then you just kind of shared it, like any chat, right? So it could be about your therapy session, or it could be about this great revelation you had in your love life and you're sharing it with your best friend or your parent, your mother, your brother. Well, that link could be, it's public.
Yeah, it's in the search history.
It's in the
now.
search history.
Yeah.
Google has it now. Well, you thought you were sharing it with just ChatGPT.
Goodness.
Everybody could have it because it created that link. You see, that link is public. Google indexed it, saved it. And but ChatGPT learned about this because, of course, media exposed it. They were so quick to remove it off. But the internet, the dark webs, they have their memory. So you can still find it in the archive.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, it goes deep.
I could keep having this conversation with you all day. But I want
I know. We've been together 3 days now. Staying at Leslie's.
Yes. Radhika's also currently my roommate. But there are a couple of things that I just want to touch upon because I know that there are a couple of things related to AI that people are very anxious about. And one of them is this sense that it's coming for everybody's jobs. There are two twin concerns that we're not going to be able to do as much justice as I would like to, which is okay. But it's basically the economy and the environment. And I want to go one by one with you really quickly.
Okay.
Can you speak to the concerns that people have about how AI is coming for everybody's jobs?
Yes. Well, there's a lot of reality to that. When people say these things, they're picking up on something very real. Like, yes, it is going to be coming. It's the nature of any powerful technology that it has the potential for catastrophe. I mean, it happened with the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Jobs were wiped, economy tripled, but nevertheless, there were real people with real disruption that we have to acknowledge that as anyone awake enough needs to acknowledge that. But the flip side to that, and then there's also, catastrophe like the nuclear bomb and all of those things. Like every powerful technology literally carried with it,
The potential for destruction.
Yes. And we have navigated it. And that's the flip side. We have navigated it. And that's not to acknowledge, the lives that were changed.
Yeah.
But we are still here. And, we've had pretty scary stuff that's come up. Right? I mean, I just talked about the nuclear bomb. Okay. So one, yes, but there's this larger thing that every aspect of society, whether it's education or the economy or a business model or education, is ripe for destruction. It is ripe for innovation.
And disruption was what you just said, right? Not destruction.
I meant to say disruption.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, also creative destruction.
Yeah,
I mean, let's call upon the economic masters, right? Creative destruction.
Yeah.
Like you destroy something and you create that. So that maybe it was meant to be. The typo was meant to be.
The verbal typo.
Right? But yeah, and the reason for that is that many of these models are old, like really old, like education and multiple choice is like breaking during World War I because we were trying to graduate those soldiers right out of high school, right? Yeah. And then it stayed. And same thing with the jobs, like many of those jobs, it's just not the time anymore. But then AI is also creating new jobs. There is no it depends on the job you're trying to do. But I would say that, at one level, there isn't, a better phrasing would be AI is replacing tasks. Not jobs. So there are
that's really well put. Yeah.
So there's going to be new jobs, right? And for example, we wouldn't have dreamt about an AI prompt engineer a few years ago, and yet there is there.
Wow.
And we wouldn't have thought about an AI designer, and now you have kids across the world managing social media teams and creating beautiful content with Canva AI. All right, it's bringing the world together in a way, but it's also pushing us apart in another way. And it's all part of this duality because there is no such thing as a duality. I'll park it there. But so on the jobs front, this is the truth. About 80% of our skills, pretty much in many industries, are outdated. The value of 80% of your skills has just dropped to 0%. That's the reality. It's just a question of whether the technology has come in the right form to you, but the technology is there. Is a software package available for it to replace 80% of your skills, et cetera, et cetera? But that technology is there. But the remaining 20% of your skills, and here is the good news if you're listening, has skyrocketed by 10,000x.
And is it fair to say that the remaining 20% are kind of the human skills, like the part that can't yet be?
It is the part that is tapping into your intuition. It is that, wherever it resides in the beautiful brain or being of ours, where it's this combination is, like if I were to extract the Leslie-ness of Leslie's brain right now.
Oh, you make it sound so pleasing when you put it that way.
So sexy when I think about it. But is I love it. But is it just your education? Is it just your gut? Is it your experience?
Yeah.
Is it, I actually asked Siddharth Mukherjee, is like, is there who's the Pulitzer Prize winning of the gene? He was our advisor at Ribo helping with cancer. But this guy's like a living vortex trying to solve cancer. And I'm like, and he would just spit out this information, just off the top of his head. He would look at our database, which ranked all these cures, and he'd be like, oh, this is why this makes sense to me. This is this ranking is like dead on, your AI got it right. And, there's no database we could look that up. I mean, we're talking, this is biology, this is chemistry, right? Like, this is all like actual data, human data. We've been battling cancer, it's a specific type of cancer, let's say breast cancer. And at one point, I'm like, Sid, like, how is there an electronic database of your brain? And how did you get here? He was like, just experience. Right? It's that 20% where you look at something, and it's like a top CEO would walk in and know how to invert a company and turn it around, right? It's the same thing where you walk in and the right tool to pull out of your toolkit.
Yeah.
So I would say, again, invert it. When people tell me, but AI is coming for your job or AI is coming for our jobs. I'm like, yeah, what if AI is coming for you?
Yeah. To help you, to assist you, to aid you.
Yes, similar to how the universe is not,
things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you.
But they're happening for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much. And then just to sort of touch on this environmental piece, because it was interesting that you said before that there are some theories that AI could help with the environmental crisis. I know a lot of people are very worried that it's going to make it worse.
Yes.
Can you just, speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, and I'll keep it tight. AI, to train these models, GPT-4, for example, cost over $100 million. It's a lot of compute. It is very intensive, both in terms of actual electricity, but also the water required to cool these data centers. It is a lot. So, for example, I believe it's GPT-4, and most of these numbers you have to bear in mind, nobody really has access to it. So it's kind of like a back of the hand calculation. Many of the companies have not released information, but some of the companies have. So GPT-4, for example, it took about the electricity required to power about 1,300 homes in the U.S. Which is a lot.
Staggering numbers.
Yes. But then, hey, can we sacrifice the electricity required for 1,300 homes to give you this tool to, that can do anything from writing your next financial report to predicting
stuff. Or that could literally be the thing that solves the environmental crisis in some other way.
Right. Yeah. So it's like at some point you have to be like, okay, that's the trade-off. But, okay, so, that's one of the mindsets. But the reality is the footprint is big. For example, right now, AI uses 3% of all electricity demands in the United States. By 2030, projected at the same rate, so assuming no innovation in technology or in energy, an AI technology or in energy technology, it'll be 99%.
Wow.
Yes.
I have a hard time even sort of wrapping my brain around that.
Yes. Yeah. So we need to say that we need innovation now in all these sectors is like, that's why Eric Schmidt was actually in front of the Congress lobbying for this. And every big company, Meta, Google, they're all, building massive data centers. Yeah. They're going into nuclear energy. So there's a lot of effort happening. But let's talk about the more practical side or the prompt. Like every time you prompt, Again, it depends on which model that you're using. And again, these numbers are estimates. But Google just released a paper like 2 days ago. And compared to even their previous models, so compared to a couple of years ago, the energy consumption has dropped by 33%. So it's right now for Google, it's 0.25 watts, which is not bad. That is like turning on your microwave for a second.
Wow.
And this is your median prompt. I need to be clear. It's your median prompt, right? Like, of course, you can ask it.
Yeah, you can keep going and going
with median, which, in a system where it doesn't follow a nice, beautiful bell curve, median is a good number to go off of. And then water consumption became better by 44%, which translates to 5 drops of water.
God, you're incredible. Just all this data right off the top of your dome.
So that's where we are. So again, there's hope it's getting better. But we do need, conscious discussion around it.
Yeah.
And really conscious use.
That. Yeah.
Right? Like, maybe you need to think a little bit about generating this meme that's going to go nowhere and it's just for you and your friend.
Right.
Again, mindfulness, intentionality.
I really appreciate that. And thank you for speaking to it, because I know that it's something that is weighing very heavily on people's heads and hearts right now. And so before we wrap up today, you are a woman of many talents. And in addition to everything we've been talking about, you also are the author of a book called The AI Laments. Will you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. Well, this is a coffee table book that I wrote about AI. And specifically, it marries my very human-generated poetry on AI with AI-generated art. So to generate the art, I fed in these poems. And the poems are in the voice of future AIs, speaking of consciousness. So each poem is a lament, a sad musing in poetry form from a future AI that we're not building today. So it marries in, if you like this kind of conversation where it talks about humanity and beingness and consciousness and beauty and all of those things that we seem to have left behind, well, that's a book for you. Pick it up.
Where can people find it?
On my website, radhikadirks.com.
That will be in the show notes.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Merch.
Exactly. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I really appreciated it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a pleasure. And the fact that you invited me back. Yay.
By all means, absolutely. You're coming back again sometime.
Thank you.
You've been watching or listening to The Nature of Nurture with me, Dr. Leslie Carr, and I want to thank you for joining us. You can find Radhika at radhikadirks.com. That link is in the show notes. And you can find me at thenatureofnurture.com. Many thanks to Radhika for having this conversation with me. This episode was produced by me and Bree Corey. Thanks to Bree, Rick Barrio-Dill, and everyone at Slap Studios LA for helping to make my dreams come true. If you found this conversation valuable, please let me know by leaving a review or rating, or by sharing the episode with at least one person who you think might enjoy it too. You can also like or subscribe on YouTube or in any podcast app that you can get your hands on. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next time.